For years, the term supply chain was, something most of us never gave a second thought. It was this invisible global machine that just worked. And then, all of a sudden, it didn't. So today, we're going to dig into why that chain snapped and, more importantly, how we're rebuilding it for the future. And it really all starts with one pretty incredible number.
Okay, let's start with this number right here, 94%. Just let that sink in for a second. What do you think that represents? It's a massive, massive figure, and it points to a crisis that hit pretty much every major company on the planet. And there you have it. A staggering 94% of the world's biggest companies saw their supply chains get completely upended. Now, we're not talking about a minor hiccup here. This was a systemic shock that laid bare just how fragile the whole system of making and moving things really was. So the big question is, how on earth could one single event cause that much chaos?
All right, so to figure out how to fix this, we've got to understand the problem itself. And the problem isn't just one broken link in the chain. It's about how that break spreads. We're talking about something called the ripple effect. Think about throwing a stone into a perfectly still pond. A single factory shutting down in one country doesn't just stop there. That's the splash. It creates ripples. Suddenly, the shipping company that moves those parts has nothing to move. Then the assembly plant in a totally different country runs out of components. And then the retailer on a third continent has nothing to put on its shelves. One small, faraway problem just keeps spreading outwards, causing failure after failure across this huge, interconnected web.
So why was the system so vulnerable to these ripples in the first place? Well, for decades, these networks were built around one single idea, and ironically, it became their biggest weakness. It all comes down to a fundamental trade-off.
This right here, this is the heart of the problem. For years, everything, and I mean everything, was about the column on the left, designed for efficiency, just-in-time delivery, which meant no extra parts lying around, keeping inventory levels razor-thin, relying on a single supplier because they gave you the absolute lowest price. It was brilliant for cutting costs, but it made the system incredibly brittle. The future, well, that's the column on the right, designed for resilience. It's about being flexible, having backup plans, having more than one supplier, and working together. The focus completely shifts from just saving a buck today to making sure you can actually survive a crisis tomorrow.
So how do we actually build this resilience? Where do we even start? Well, the first part of the answer is a digital lifeline. And I know, digital transformation sounds like a corporate buzzword, but trust me, in this case, it's about creating a constant flow of data that lets companies see a problem coming and react in an instant. The engine behind all of this is what folks call Industry 4.0. You've got IoT sensors tracking shipments in real time, so you know exactly where everything is. You've got AI that can predict a supplier delay before it even happens. There are digital twins, which are basically virtual copies of the entire supply chain that let you run simulations and stress test your plants. It's all about using data to see the entire chessboard, not just the one piece right in front of you.
You can really see the before and after picture here. The old way, on the left, was totally siloed. Every company was in its own little bubble, blind to what was happening with their partners. You were always reacting to problems after they'd already happened. The new model, on the right, creates this transparent ecosystem where real-time data is shared with everyone. And this is the crucial part. You go from being reactive and flying blind to being predictive and proactive. It's a total game changer.
But listen, tech is only one piece of the puzzle. To be truly resilient, it's not enough for companies to just have better data. They've got to completely change how they work together. They have to shift from being isolated links in a chain to being part of a collaborative ecosystem. And the scale here, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, think about it. Modern supply networks are these incredibly complex webs. So how do you get tens of thousands, or in some cases over 100,000 different companies to work in perfect sync, especially when things go wrong? Well, the answer is these amazing collaborative digital platforms. You create a central hub, kind of like the system from SupplyOn that connects more than 100,000 businesses. What it does is create a single source of truth. That means one shared, real-time view of everything, forecasts, orders, inventory that every single partner can see. All those chaotic emails and phone calls are replaced by a smart digital ecosystem where everyone is literally on the same page. Okay, so we've got the tech for seeing what's happening and the platforms for working together. Now let's look at a killer real-world example of a technology that really embodies both of these ideas: additive manufacturing. You probably know it as 3D printing.
Wow, just look at this chart.
This comes from a simulation of a major supply chain crisis. The bar on the left, that's your typical supply chain. It took a massive financial hit, losing thousands. But now look at the bar on the right. That's the same company in the same crisis, but with 3D printing capabilities. It didn't just survive, it absolutely thrived, making a huge profit.
And this wasn't a one-off. Get this. Across all the different disaster scenarios they simulated, the model that used additive manufacturing saw its profits go up by an average of 964%. It didn't just soften the blow, it literally turned a catastrophe into a gold mine. So, what's the magic here? How is that even possible? Well, it's because this technology lets companies completely decentralize how they make things. Instead of waiting for a critical part to be made in one giant factory and shipped halfway across the world, you can just email a digital file to a 3D printer located anywhere, maybe right inside your local warehouse. So when the shipping lanes get clogged, you just bypass them. You make what you need, where you need it, when you need it. It's an incredible leap in flexibility.
Which brings us to the final big question. The last crisis absolutely shattered the global supply chain, and we've seen the incredible digital tools, the collaborative platforms, and the futuristic manufacturing tech being used to piece it back together. But is it truly rebuilt for what's next? Are we actually future-proof, or are we just getting better at fighting the last war? That's the billion-dollar question everyone is trying to answer right now.